In 2 journalism classes I took while at Bridgewater College, we got the chance to design our own projects. Basically, the only requirements that they were newsworthy and investigated some sort of topic. So for my first project, I came up with the idea to investigate the Division III philosophy in athletics at Bridgewater College. I spoke with student athletes, professors, the athletic director to see what kind of programs and policies were in place, and I spoke with people from institutional advancement to see how much money is put into athletics versus academics. So the project was a 4,000-word long-form journalism piece, which I designed my own layout in InDesign with photographs that I took myself. And I learned that Bridgewater College does a good job of upholding the Division III philosophy. And for the second project, I did a mini documentary. It was 10 minutes. And I focused on the local journalism in the Harrisonburg, Virginia area, and I focused on the Daily News Record, which is in Harrisonburg, Virginia. I spoke with Peter Yates, who's the general manager, and I followed a reporter around. I also talked with students at Bridgewater College to see what types of news sources they read, and I talked with the managing editor at James Madison University in their newspaper to see if small newspapers, or print newspapers specifically, still had an impact on the community, and I found that they did, and they are an integral part of the community. For that project, I was a one-woman crew and did the video editing and shooting of the video by myself, and it took a little bit to learn how to use the program, but I ended up learning how to use it and finished the video. In between my junior and senior year of college, the communications department at Bridgewater College decided to make changes regarding the newspaper and radio. The idea was to form a more web-based news outlet. At first, there wasn't much direction on where to go with the project. The old faculty advisor had left, and they hired a new professor to sort of take on the project. And I had been a part of Veritas since I was a freshman, and during my junior year, I was the editor-in-chief of the paper. So I had been kind of used to the way things were, and I wasn't quite ready for the change, but I decided it was important to stay committed to the organization and make it better for the students and our audience. So I still worked on a printed newspaper monthly, which was expressed by our audience that was still important to them. But I also helped build a new website using Wix.com, which is more user-friendly for our audience. So in the end, I'm glad I stayed with the organization and got to learn new skills regarding web and continue on with my leadership position. During my junior year of college, I was the editor-in-chief of Veritas, the student-run newspaper at Bridgewater College, and oftentimes coming to the deadline of the paper, it was a stressful time for both writers and leaders within the organization, including me. We had a small staff, so it was often difficult to fill the paper. So while I was working with the layout editor to put the paper together, there are often times I had to track down writers in order to get a photo caption, photos, a sub-headline, things like that. So that took time. So there were times where the paper wasn't finished being put together until 11 o'clock at night, and it still needed the final edits. There were times I had to stay up till about 3 in the morning to finish the final edits of the paper. But I felt like I needed to do that because it's important to send out a product that has as few errors as possible so that audience can trust you and they know they have the most accurate information. While I was editor-in-chief of Veritas, the school newspaper, the leadership team and I were presented with the task to redesign and revamp the newspaper in order to gain more of a readership base on campus. So it took some critical thinking to come up with things that we could do. But one of the things that we did was completely redesign the layout of the paper. And we received lots of feedback from readers that they liked the new look and that it was more professional to them. One of the other things that we did was create a survey to give to students in order to get feedback. So the way we went about doing this was emailing professors to see if they would give us 5 minutes of their time at the beginning or end of class to talk with the students in order to get their feedback, have them fill out the survey, tell them what Veritas was, where they could find it on campus, how to get involved in the organization. And I think it was really helpful for the organization because we received story ideas, what types of things people wanted to read in the paper, and we even received a few people who ended up joining the organization because we had been to their class to talk to them.